Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Glad you're with us on a Friday morning. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. And once the Australian Open coverage on ESPN2, we'll bounce over there on the television side. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic here with you. We got Darren Woodson coming up in a little bit. Our ESPN NFL analyst played in 4 conference championship games during his career with the Cowboys. Went 3-1 in those contests. We'll talk about his mindset for playing in those games, as well as what he thinks as a defender about the issue with Tom Brady's hand.
Right. And we're going to do picks still to come. Do you know who you're picking yet? Are you still kind of hedging?
I'm still sort of going through, to your point, Mike, I'm still sort of going through the process of getting to that decision.
Kind of hedging a little bit?
A little bit. Jeff Darlington will join us as well, our ESPN NFL reporter, and Teddy Atlas will be with us at about 9:30, talking about the fights coming up this week.
And in about an hour, the Bill Belichick has his presser, right? So he has a press conference. So if there's any interesting news, and normally they may not be because Bill Belichick, it doesn't say a whole lot, but we are dealing with the hand injury to Tom Brady. So I imagine we're going to get some news out of there, something said by Bill Belichick. So
he'll say something.
Yeah, he'll say something. Hopefully he'll say it and get that all squared away before the end of our show so we can discuss.
Exactly. Again, the issue with Tom Brady, if you weren't with us earlier today, he had a glove on his right hand, which he never does. He doesn't like having a glove on his right / throwing or passing hand. He injured it in practice earlier this week. He has canceled 2 straight days of media appearances, which he normally doesn't do. They say he'll speak today. We'll find out.
See.
But he also didn't take a single snap in practice on Thursday, which is the most important practice of the week. It's the padded practice. Yeah. And Dante Stallworth, who was a former Patriot, tweeted out that's when they do the most important things in New England. Third downs,
yeah.
All that kind of stuff. They do that. Brian Hoyer took every single snap in practice with the first team.
And for those delving even further, when you look at a close-up picture of the right hand with the glove on it, it looks like kind of squared off on the thumb, like maybe there's a splint underneath it, because that's what we don't know. And I don't know if we will know from Bill Belichick or Tom if they do both speak today. Is it a hand? If so, where on the hand? Is it a thumb? You know, I doubt they're going to get that specific about that, but he's
got a lower body contusion.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be the big issue. If it's a thumb, now you're really talking about, you know, that to be able to squeeze the ball, to be able to throw the ball well, so and what effect it could have come Sunday.
Well, again, why else would you put a glove on but to have a better grip? Teddy Bruschi talked about that on NFL Live with us yesterday. Kurt Warner, after he broke his thumb, wore a glove the rest of his career because the grip on the football was different.
Well, I think he wore a glove yesterday. He knew he wasn't practicing. He may have wore a glove so nobody would see what was on his hand more than because it wasn't providing any function during practice.
How great would it be, by the way, if he showed up at his press conference with 2 oven mitts?
Yeah.
Just 2 giant like the guys that hold the thing on the sidelines.
I think it'd be awesome. the time guy.
Yeah, the big gloves, the big orange gloves.
That would be a great sense of humor thing that you don't see the New England Patriots having the sense of humor thing a whole lot.
Why are you wearing the gloves? I've always liked this color. Yeah. I think it goes well with my complexion.
I think that's a cool job that guy has.
I've always wanted to be that guy holding the mic, so that's why I'm wearing this.
Really cool.
It would be tremendous.
It would.
And you know what? It would be, the whole room would die laughing.
That would be good.
And they'd probably get around the issue because he said, "No, I just like these.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Everything's good. I really enjoy how they fit on my arms. They're very comfortable."
Yeah.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it would. I agree with that. I think
they won't do it.
No, they won't.
But they should. Let's get started with what's trending. And I guess this is good news for the Cavs. They won.
Well, yeah.
But they played the team with the worst record in the NBA, Mike, and they blew a 20-point lead at halftime at home and had to hang on and beat Orlando by 1.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas hits a couple of late free throws in this one. And second half since Christmas, they're the worst in the league in about every meaningful statistical category there is out there. So, and as Isaiah Thomas said after the game, they have to quit playing one-on-one basketball, especially in the second half. They had a 20-point lead, so you had a lot of isolation play. And we've seen that out of the Cavs at times anyway. And as he said, and it's not like it's rocket science. They do better when you move the ball a little bit more, and that's something they need to do at a better rate and a better pace. So can they get to that point and that's what the talk is all the time. Can they get there by the time the playoffs start? How much better can IT be in this offensive flow with the more games he's going to play? I still think they're going to be right where they want to be, which is in the finals when all is said and done.
Well, yeah, we talked about this a little bit in Over-Under.
Yeah.
I guess that's still probably going to happen, but I certainly don't feel
I think they're still the favorite, but maybe
as I did earlier.
Right, exactly.
In years past, they would have treated this game like a loss. But I think they were so happy to actually get a win.
Yeah,
sometimes you just need a win to sort of get things going. And if you're a Cleveland fan or a LeBron fan, maybe thinking, hey, look, they got it going in the right direction. Now let's see if they can take it to the next step. But it was a 1-point win over the team with the worst record in the NBA. By the way, our BPI, our Basketball Power Index right now, only gives the Cavs a 4.5% chance to make the finals.
Wow.
4.5%.
That's something. The BPI, Basketball Power, so the basketball nerds here.
Yeah, the basketball nerds are not in on
They're not in. Not in on the Cavs.
No, we'll see if they're right as it plays out. We continue. Yeah, we do.
There you go.
With what's trending. This is going to be something to watch going forward as we're getting closer and closer to spring training starting next month. Pitchers and catchers reporting. The Players Association said no to the league's proposal to institute a 20-second pitch clock and limit mound visits in an effort to speed up play, Mike, in a season in 2017 where baseball games were 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 11 seconds long on average.
You know, the great thing about baseball, when they want to try things, they have the minor leagues to do it. And they've done the 20-second pitch clock in the minors to kind of get a sense of how it's going to work. For the NFL, that stuff can be done in preseason if you want to get a look at things. You get way more sample size by doing it in the minors. And I know Rob Manfred, he wants to work with the union. We want to have that good working relationship to work to something here. The union has rejected these changes, and Rob Manfred basically, it seems, is going to be, well, we're going to do it anyway.
Right.
We tried to work with you. We wanted to kind of get this done together, but if you're not in on this, we're going to do it anyway because we think baseball needs this.
Well, here's the money quote from Jerry Krasnick's article on ESPN.com with Manfred. My preferred path is a negotiated agreement with the players. But then he added, but if we can't get an agreement, we're going to have rule changes in 2018 one way or the other.
You can work with us or you can stand by and watch us implement the rules. That's kind of the way it's going to be. They said they're not going to really discuss more of it until the next owners meeting, which begins January 30th. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would be fascinated to find out how the dynamics play out here. If there isn't an agreement, what can the players union, which, by the way, the baseball players union has always been the strongest union of any players out there, whether it's, getting through free agency before anybody else, dealing with strikes, all that kind of stuff. But my goodness, they have been very strong and able to get their things on behalf of the players. So I would, we talked about this that week after that January 30th meeting. We'll have somebody on from baseball and we'll get some information on how that plays out. Maybe getting Vikings fan Buster Olney on with us, right?
Well, we'll see. If the Vikings win, he'll come on and be happy. If they lose, he may not want to come on.
Well, we'll have him talk baseball.
There you go.
Well, either way, we'll get Buster Olney.
Right.
And we'll finish up with what can only be described as just an absolutely great job by an expansion team. In the meeting of the top two teams in the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Lightning 4-1. And, Mike, they got to 30 wins faster than any expansion team in NHL history.
Yeah, very incredible. They did it in, 44 games. 44 games. And before that, it was the Florida Panthers in 93 and the Flyers in 67. It took them 69 games to get to those wins. They've been playing incredibly well against good talent, too. They're 12-3 against teams who have made it to the Cup Finals the previous 5 seasons. They're 19-1 when scoring first this season. And so they have 30 wins. Most wins for a first-year NHL expansion team is those Florida Panthers in 93 and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in 93. That year as well.
Right.
Both those teams had 33 wins. The Golden Knights already have 30, so they're going to blow that one away.
Absolutely.
So very impressive. And to me, I'm so happy pro sports are in Vegas, and we're past that whole gambling stigma thing of Las Vegas. We weren't sure how that would work there because of 41 home games as opposed to when the Raiders go there, it's 8 home games. And would it be more their fans or transient, fans of the other teams coming in? But it's working out well for them, and they're playing well, so that's very cool to see.
The home ice advantage is real, and it's spectacular for the Golden Knights. They have done an amazing job, and they have flipped the switch to winning pretty quickly. So Make the Switch is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. And we now are going to make the switch to talking about football, Conference Championship Sunday with our...
This is 5 Point Stance on Golic and Wingo.
All right, here we go. 5 Point Stance. The Jags beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh and advanced to face the Patriots in Foxborough, just like the 2007 postseason when they lost to the Patriots. They're the 10th team to face the Steelers and Patriots in the same postseason. Only the 76 Raiders and the 2015 Broncos beat both, and they both been on to win the Super Bowl. But there's a difference there, Mike. Unlike the Jaguars, those two teams won both games at home.
Right. These on the road. And I tell you, one of the best stats out there for Jacksonville when you're going against a Tom Brady, who is obviously one of the greats of all time, but also a stationary quarterback.
Yep.
Who, as I said earlier, will hit the deck and live to fight another play. Jacksonville pressured opposing quarterbacks 33% of the time this season. That's second best in the NFL. Despite blitzing just 17% of the time, that's the lowest in the NFL. So that is four-man rush.
Right.
They get pressure. They get sacks. You got 7 back to cover how you want to cover. That is you want to talk about a feather in the cap. That's why 55 sacks, 21 interceptions, when you can pressure with just those front 4.
Listen, and they have the guys that can cover so you can pressure with those.
The athletic linebackers in this one. We talk about the Ramsey and Boye, the corners, and Church at safety and what he's been doing. But first off, give it up for Puslesny.
Right.
Paul Puslesny and what?
Yeah, a guy that they brought over a few years ago.
I mean, but he's been in the league forever.
Yep.
And, he's that run-stopping guy who'll go out on the pass plays because they have such athletic linebackers and a Miles Jack and a Telvin Smith as well. Really, really impressive athletic ability by those linebackers.
By the way, Telvin Smith yesterday talked about the point where he got the unsportsmanlike conduct, got a fine for $10,000.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, I take it back. Please don't fine me. And we're like, bro, no, you should have said I was pointing to somebody in the stands.
Yeah, there you go.
I wasn't pointing at the opposing Pittsburgh player. You just lost your appeal right now by saying that. Look, deny. Say it was somebody else.
It's a friend.
Maybe you have a chance of knocking it down from 10 to 5 or 7,500. He laid it all out there. He's not getting any of that 10 grand back.
No, he's not.
We continue in our 5-point stance. Look, the Jags led the NFL in rushing this season, 141 yards per game. They've been relying even more heavily on their run game in the postseason, averaging 160 rushing yards in their 2 wins. The 3 teams to beat Brady, Belichick, New England in the playoffs all rushed for at least 120 yards and a TD. Those 3 teams averaged just about 158 yards rushing in those wins.
And it's so we always talk about, obviously, the running back in this and Leonard Fournette. You got to give it up for that old line. What they've done. Remember, they have a rookie at left tackle on Cam Robinson,
right? The
kid from Alabama. They have the highest paid center. Not a lot of that is a timing issue, but he's a good center in Brandon Linder. But it's an old line where I don't imagine a lot of people can name who the starters are, but you got to give it up to them. And there's a couple of teams in this class, like Minnesota. It changed the entire, basically starting 5 and how it's changed for them in rushing the ball this year. So while Fournette's going to get a lot of the love, and certainly Bortles as well, who's been running well, give it up to the 5 guys up front and the tight ends who come in and block. They're doing a nice job.
Yeah, and Bortles has been a big part of that.
Yeah, yes. He has.
He didn't do as much in the Steelers win as he did in the Buffalo win, where he actually had more rushing yards than passing yards. But see, that's why I think that's the one thing that won't happen Sunday. I know Bill Belichick is looking at that tape and seeing how they extended drives. He said, guys, let's put a spy on the end here. If you can't get there, it's kind of like a mush rush.
Yeah.
Let's make sure. And by the way, how odd is it? We're talking about Blake Bortles defending him as a running quarterback now. I mean, he's a little more athletic than I think people give him credit for.
Yes, he is. He is.
But Bill will make sure that what you consider to be your success, that's the thing they're going to try and take away more than anything else. All right, how about Tom Brady, looking to become the first quarterback to win multiple playoff games after turning 40? Brett Favre is the only other quarterback to even start or win a playoff game after turning 40. He went 1-1 in that year with Minnesota when they went to the NFC Championship game, and they lost. They won the divisional round, and they lost in the NFC Championship game when he threw that interception late across the middle to New Orleans. That game eventually went to overtime, and the Saints won it in overtime and went on to beat the Colts in the Super Bowl that year. But Brady really hasn't slowed down. He's averaging 47.6 pass attempts in the playoffs since 2014, compared to 36.5 in the postseason from 2001 to 2013.
See, here's the thing. With them, you never know how it's going to come out, right?
Yep.
They could come out and run the ball 15 straight times.
Yep.
Or throw the ball 15 or 20 straight times. You just don't know, and that's one of the things that's great about them is how they're going to attack you. What more do you need to say about Brady? That's why it's such a big thing we're talking about now is, okay, you're 40, you've had the Achilles issue, you've been on the injury report for your Achilles. Is there any effect there? And now this hand injury to where you didn't even practice on one of the big practice days out there. So that's all you can do on Brady is you expect a great performance. And if not, we look for reasons why.
Right.
Is it because of injury? Is it because of age? Is it because of the defense now they're going to face this week? But listen, he has created the list of reasons of why we talk so highly about him.
He had 53 pass attempts in the win over the Titans. 53.
Yeah.
Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's why what you just said, everybody looks for something. Oh, maybe it's the hand. Maybe it's the Achilles that he's been sore, a couple of times on the year.
Let me just say, if he throws 53 times in this game and Jacksonville only has 1 or 2 sacks and not a lot of pressures,
that's a problem.
That's going to be a monster win for New England there. I would find it hard to believe he would throw it 53, 54, 55 times and not be hitting the deck a few times.
Well, you're right. If that happens, Jacksonville, it's been a good run. As Bill Pito used to say when he was around these parts. How about neither the Vikings nor the Eagles have ever won a Super Bowl, going a combined 0-6 in the game. No teams without a Super Bowl win have reached the conference championship round as frequently as the Vikings or the Eagles.
How about that? Most conference championship games since the merger with no Super Bowl wins. The Vikings 9 times, Eagles 7 times, Bills 5 times. So, one of these teams is going to get there with a chance to win the Super Bowl this time around. I am, everybody is talking about obviously Brady and his hand and Jacksonville, that defense. I am really, really looking forward to this matchup a lot. There are so many great individual matchups in this game. I think these are at least set up to be 2 of the better games I think we're going to get in a while on conference championship
I think
day.
they're going to be fun. I
Yeah.
really do. I think they're going to be very compelling, very interesting, very close.
We thought that last week for the second day, and we almost got, wait a minute, 17 zip in one game, 21 zip in another game, and you're like, oh my God, where did it go? And they both ended up being, pretty interesting games.
Absolutely. And we'll finish up our 5-point stance. Case Keenum and Nick Foles were the starting quarterbacks for the 2015 Rams when they went 7-9, who had traded Sam Bradford to the Eagles prior to the season. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, this will be just the 5th time in the last 30 years former teammate QBs meet in the playoffs. The home team, by the way, won the previous 4, which would go the way of Nick Foles and the Eagles.
The other times, you go back to 07 divisional round, Matt Hasselbeck, Brett Favre, Seattle, Green Bay, they were teammates, and that was also the time before in 03 wild card game, Hasselbeck, Brett Favre. Then you go to 96 wild card, Jim Harbaugh for the Colts, Mike Tomczak for Pittsburgh, and 95 divisional game, Rodney Peete for Philly and Troy Aikman for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, the Jeff Fisher factor looms large here in this game. It really does. And Bradford is part of that, too, because he was drafted by Jeff Fisher and the Rams first overall in 2010, and he's still in the mix and looks like he's going to be active.
And you're only human. Do you think in a private moment, certainly you never talk about it publicly, maybe at home, that Case Keenum and his family are thinking, man, I'm going to get a lot of money.
Yes.
He'll never say it publicly. He's talking about team now. But, when you're at home just thinking what this leads to, you're doing pretty well. Going to get paid.
Look, I think that they're going to put the franchise tag on him.
Then he's going to get paid.
And then try and work out a contract. Because that franchise tag is always a placeholder. And for Case Keenum, that's a really good place to be in. I mean, Kirk Cousins got a 3,000% raise when they put the franchise tag on him. And Case might be coming close.
I don't even know what does Case make. Brett, can you find out what Case makes? I mean, I know it ain't a lot.
Yeah.
I know
Brett,
it's not
get
a lot.
on that. What's the salary for Case Keenum? Because whatever it is, it's going to go up by a significant amount.
So much.
All right, we got a couple of grilled Golics here. You want to get some of these in?
Sure. Go ahead.
You want to get 1 or 2 of them in?
Do one now.
We'll do
got
one.
time.
We'll do a couple
more.
later.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're doing one, I think in a grilled Golic situation, this has to be the one.
My question for Mike is, when you make your burger brat on the grill, what type of cheese do you put on top and how many slices? Thanks.
Well, see, I think the how many slices is just as important as what kind.
Well, what I like to do, I like a couple pieces of cheese, but I don't like put them both on the burger. I like them one on each side, and obviously you can't do that on a grill. You're going to get melted cheese all over the grill. So
I love the smell of melted cheese.
Oh, I love it as well. So what I'll do is I'll put the one slice of cheese on top of the burger, and when it's done, I will put another piece of cheese on the bread and set the hot burger right off the grill right on that piece of cheese, so then I have a piece of cheese on both sides. And then I finish off with my lettuce, my, mustard, whatever condiments I'm going to use. So I'll go 2 pieces of cheese, but not stacked. I'll put that second piece on the piece of bread and put the hot burger on it so it melts along with the top one that is already melted.
Okay.
How about that? That's oddly specific?
That is very oddly specific. And keep your oddly specific questions for us. At Grill Golic, or also at Golic and Wingo, your oddly specific predictions for Championship Sunday with the AFC and NFC title games. By the way, quick, Brett, our researcher, got it done. Case Keenum's year, 1 year, $2 million.
$2 million this year.
Franchise tag would be 1 year, about $25 million.
About $25 million.
So it's,
and if you get to deal, you're probably going to be in the $18 to $20 million.
$18 to $20 million in multi-years.
Wow. $2 million is nice.
Yeah.
Really, really, really nice.
$18 million is better.
Is about 9 times better.
It's a lot better. Yeah. And it's about to get a lot better for Case Keenum.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Little lip sync, by the way. Funky Town with you on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and now on ESPN2 as our coverage of the Australian Open has ended. So if you're joining us on ESPN2, we're sorry for how terrible we look, but we appreciate you being with us.
There you go.
We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And by the way, we got some more Grill Golic questions coming up. We got a couple up there, but you want to get in with some more of that? Call 860-506-5505 and leave your hashtag Grill Golic question. We'll get to those a little bit later, but we're getting to my guy. Darren Woodson joins us now in studio, giving us a Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts.
You know, a lot of people thought that we're back on ESPN2 because of the Australian Open is over. Woody has it in his contract that if he appears on the show,
so
we have to be on ESPN2.
So we have switched over.
FaceTime
in this joint.
What? You got to give the people what
That's
they
exactly
want, as
right.
Jalen Rose says.
Exactly
a lot
right.
of people demanding some Darren Woodson FaceTime. Hey, before we get into everything that's going on at Conference Championship Sunday, I got to say, you got to love what your guy Herm Edwards is doing to your alma mater, Arizona State. This is the email, not the Twitter post that Herm put out there at 6 a.m. on the East Coast, which means it was at 4 a.m. Out in Arizona. ASU players forks up social media. Be aware of its potential impact on you and the program. It never forgets. It becomes your resume. Your social media strategy should be consistent with your values, and make sure you draw a line between your public online persona and your private life.
I.e., don't press send.
How many times is out there preaching it up?
Yeah.
And he's the right guy.
Oh, you got that.
He's the right guy for. I mean, listen, if my son was a football player coming up at that age, and I knew that I could just give him to a coach, and I knew he would be okay. Herm would be the guy because I know who Herm is through and through. He's going to forever be a servant, and he'll tell you, his entire walk is to serve others and to help others become better people. And that, I mean, he's going to do a tremendous job.
One thing I know for sure, when he's in a living room talking to, we'll see the recruits, the actual players, the 18-year-olds that he gets. But when he leaves that house, the parents are going to be saying to that 18-year-old, "You're playing for that man."
Kid. That's right.
You're going to play for that man, and then we'll see where that goes from there.
Look. you have to love what he's doing.
Yep.
It's just great. And as a former Arizona State alum, I thought you'd get a kick out of that. But as a former Dallas Cowboy, you've played in 4 of these games, conference championship. Your Cowboys teams always had the swagger. You might have played in 5. I'm sorry. No, you played in 4. 4. I'm sorry.
You could just ask him.
I don't know, but he knows better than I do. Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember the plays. This guy right here, Trey, will remember the play, the exact play. Well, you got beat on this play simply because you didn't turn your hips. I'm like, what year was that?
I actually reminded him once that he actually had a pick 6 against Norv Turner in his first year with the White. He goes, no, I didn't. And I looked up at the tips. Yeah, you did. It was right here.
Yeah, you did.
So what's the mindset? For you to be successful in a conference championship game? What's the approach? Because, the stage is enormous. You know that you're one win away from everybody's dream and having a chance at winning that ring. Your Cowboys teams are really good at it. How did you guys prepare for the moment and the stage?
Being laser focused on each day and in your preparation. So the game is not won on Sunday. And I think that's, the conception is, you go out there on Sunday and you figure out a way to win. The game is won, and it's the reason why the Patriots are who they are as far as winning championships. You win the game on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, and then lead up to the process. And I think that's the one thing we did. Now, we had characters with the Dallas Cowboys, the Michael Irvins, the Charles Haley's of the world, and all those guys. The Nate Newtons. But the one thing we all were on the same page about was preparing for the game to win the game, because we felt like once we got in the tournament, we were going to be the best prepared, most talented football team in the tournament. But that's the way I approach it. And that's the way I think these teams are approaching it now is, you're starting to see the teams that weren't laser focused, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who fell by the wayside because they weren't focused. They weren't focused on the game at hand that was right in front of them. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we saw Jalen Ramsey early in the week make the statement like, we're going to win this. But, that was early. It was after an emotional win. The rest of this week, Tom Coughlin and I'm sure Marone have talked to this team about being laser focused, and we haven't heard a peep out of Jacksonville. They are going in the same direction. I think that's what you want to do. You got to eliminate everything that's outside. All you're doing is playing for the weekend.
We had AJ Boye on a little while ago, their cornerback from Jacksonville, and I knew publicly he wasn't going to say anything about it, but maybe even that. What's going on in that locker room when you read that this future Hall of Fame quarterback, a guy who beats everybody, all of a sudden isn't practicing with a hand injury?
Well, I think you have to do your job because the one thing you still, this goalie, you still have to beat the guy in front of you.
Right.
You can't worry about what's going on with Brady's hand because you have to win your battle. You're battling the trenches. You have to cover your guy on the outside. You have to do your job. And then if you have those opportunities, if you are a Calais Campbell or Malik Jackson and Brady's just laying on the ground and his hand just happens to be exposed, you may want to step on.
Well, hello, right thumb. How are you today?
Get trounced on. But that's a part of the game. That's the gamesmanship that goes on. But I don't think that you get laser focused on, well, Brady's hands hurt. Do your job, and if the opportunity presents itself, test it out.
Okay, we're all looking at the photos of Tom Brady's hand in the video like it's the Zapruder film. Okay, we are all like, what do we see? Do you see anything that when you look at it that indicates there may be a brace under that thumb or anything like that?
No, I just don't. I mean, we can only assume by hearing what we heard about, he never wore a glove on his hand, so that we can only assume that there is a problem with it. And Teddy made the assumption yesterday that basically, hey, look, he never wore a glove to throw the football. He likes and he's probably wearing that glove to grip the football. So there's probably some type of problem. Maybe it's a wound. Maybe it's an open wound that he's trying to cover up. We just don't know, and we won't know until they come out on Sunday.
So let's just go to the game and talk about that. And one of the most important things that this great Jacksonville defense can do, 21 interceptions, 55 sacks. How, if you were that defense with the personnel they have, how would you cover Gronk?
Look, I think there's two ways. I think Miles Jack is a guy who's athletic at the linebacker position, has tremendous cover ability, and we saw that when he played at UCLA. He would be man up on certain guys, and even in the league, he's had opportunities where he will play some man to man. He's going to need help, whether it be with Barry Church or Gibson, if Gibson is out there to play. I'm not sure just yet, but he's going to have some safety help at the same time. But you have to be physical at the line of scrimmage with Gronk. Get him off his mark. Don't let him just run down the field, wide open without getting some type of, without obstructing his route. But you have to get your hands on him. You got to get him off his spot. and make it hard for to Brady just look at him and go right to him.
Well, everybody says that, and then they try it, and then it doesn't happen.
Because they give you so many different looks. They give you a look. This past week, they're playing the Tennessee Titans, and Brady comes to the line of scrimmage. He sees they have one-on-one man coverage. He looks at Gronk, who's right basically at the tight end position. He looks at Gronk and says, go out wide. Points him in the direction to go out wide. He goes out wide. He has Bayard by himself. And then they throw a little stop route, boom.
Little pitch and catch.
And that's the brilliance of Brady of understanding what the coverage is. He breaks down the coverage. He understands the weakness. He knows where the matchup is, and he goes right to it. And that's why it's so hard to cover Gronk. Everybody thinks, well, why don't you double him all the time? Well, that's not in your scheme. It's not what you do. And you just can't get out of your scheme for this one matchup because of one guy. It's just hard to make that adjustment for everybody.
So let's look at the other side of the ball. And we all hear that New England does a great job of taking away what you want to do, and Jacksonville would like to run the ball. But everybody knows when you play Jacksonville, stop the run because make Blake Bortles beat you, and he had a 3-game stretch, which was good. But for the most part, not so good.
Right.
Oh, they keep rushing for a ton of yards. What makes you believe, and do you think New England can stop this running game?
I do. I think New England's a team. And, listen, there's not a whole lot of star power on that football team. There's not one guy that sticks out and you say, wow, he's going to just dominate this game. They do it in a team effort. And Matt Patricia does a great job of understanding exactly what you're trying to do offensively. If Leonard Fournette is the key guy, well, they're going to stack it and they're going to say, okay, Blake Bortles, you beat my guys out there. You beat Butler out there in one-on-one.
What will they do so different than every other team that's trying to do the exact same thing?
Right. Different looks, different slants, moving guys into the box, bringing safeties down, hiding, disguising the coverage. They're going to make it hard on Jacksonville to just get up their lineup and say, and run the football. I haven't seen a team just come in and just totally dominate them up front.
Right.
I haven't seen a team just do that this year. I mean, if I missed that,
the Patriots?
The Patriots. I haven't seen anyone just totally get up front, and even with the talent that they have, and I'm telling you, they're not dominant up front.
Right. Honestly,
but no one's really dominated them up front.
Not since Kansas City in the opening game. Not since Kansas City in the opening game. Now, the one thing Miami did was they really got their corners and they pressed those receivers so they weren't getting that free release. Like Brandon Cooks is fast, but he's not quick off the line. I mean, they were really good at making those guys work for their free release. Now, obviously, that game was without Gronk, so that changes everything. But they didn't have a third down conversion in that game. All right, before we let you out of it, we got to know, who do you like? Were you going Jacksonville, New England? Where are you going?
I'm going New England, man. I mean, you and I've talked to you a million times about this. Last year, I bet it against New England. I knew Atlanta was going to win the Super Bowl, and I felt like
you were good, 28-3, bro.
Yeah, listen,
you were looking good.
I didn't think the Patriots were going to win it out. Went out last year. I'm not betting against them.
Yeah.
I'm not betting
against Alabama.
No, exactly.
Yeah. How about Minnesota and Philly?
I got to go with my heart and go with the Minnesota Vikings. And
Mike Zimmer.
I've been around Zimmer for 12 years as an assistant coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I know his heart. I know he's laser focused on this week, and I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles are as well. I like the matchup with Adam Thielen on the outside, Stephon Diggs. They're going to run some double routes. You better cover them.
Well, that has been the bugaboo on the Eagles secondary all year. That second move, the double move routes, has been the ones they've bid on. All right, we'll get to some Grill Golic questions in a minute, but this just popped up, and I wanted to share it with everybody here. It's from the Sports Business Daily, and people are talking about, the ratings for football are down, and, nobody's watching TV and all this kind of stuff.
And the ratings are down.
They are down. Mm-hmm. But among the here's why football and televised sports aren't going anywhere. Among the 100 most viewed shows on TV in 2017, 81 of them were sports telecasts. Now, that's down from 88 in 2016, but that decline may be due to the Olympic year in 2016. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have the Olympics, there's more sports. But let's take it one step further. Within the top 10 most viewed telecasts, NFL game windows accounted for 9 slots. The Oscars were number 7. So, in other words, NFL games were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 in terms of the top 10 telecast. Let's take it one step further. Of the top 100 viewed shows in 2017, 64 of them were NFL games in 2017. So yes, viewership is down, much in the same way it's down across television the board. What this is telling you is that fewer people are not watching NFL games.
A lot of it, so it comes down to what's your definition of Is the NFL in a better or worse spot? Are they good or are they not as good?
They're making more money.
The thing is going to be is the money. You're making $14 billion a year. Does that stay? If you're losing ratings, is that equal to losing money? We just saw the Verizon deal at $2.5 billion.
I think they doubled their Verizon money.
So how do you judge whether the NFL is in a positive way or a negative way? Because you could pick and choose. From a PR standpoint, they've certainly taken some hits, no doubt about it.
Without question.
Absolutely. And the ratings are down. That is a fact. But as we say, even if they're down a little bit, every other sport would love to have their ratings.
Everyone would love to have their problems.
They're still down.
Yeah.
So what's the key to you? What do you, when somebody asks you, hey, is the NFL successful right now? What's your definition of that? Do you say, no, their ratings are down, so they're not? Is it, they made $14 billion. Now they're going to make $14.5 billion. So things are doing okay. And oh, by the way, that's one of the main things the owners care about.
I think these numbers say more about television than they do about the NFL.
Yes.
But television in general is down. Viewership is down across everything.
All the choices, yeah.
But of the things that people are watching on television, it's live sports.
Yeah.
And of those live sports, it is predominantly the NFL. Again, top 100 viewed shows in 2017, 81 were sports telecasts. Of those top 100, 64 of the 100 were NFL games. And of the top 10 NFL game windows were 9 of the top 10, the Oscars being the only one that is not an NFL game in the top 10 viewed programs in 2017.
Yeah, with football, live events, man, it's the real reality out there. You have all this reality TV, but sports live, that's about as real as you can get. So, again, You can spin it any way you want, whether you think something is successful or not. But when people are turning on their television, they're turning it on to football.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the thing that people watch TV for most, it seems, are live events, and live sporting events dominate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 9 out of the top 10 shows in that window were NFL games. We have time for one quick Golic here. Grill Golic, you want to do that now, or you want to save it for the next segment? All right, we'll save it for the next segment. We do want to grill you. I want to be clear about that.
I would like to be grilled. We still have to do our picks.
Yes, we got a lot to get to.
We got some picks. I mean, we have some interesting picks
we're still
here.
Sort of calculating those.
Yes, we are. And I think we're about 10 minutes away from the Bill Belichick presser.
Yeah, 9:05.
9:05.
He's supposed to step up to the microphone. We'll see how illuminating.
So obviously we will report as soon as we possibly can what he has to say about Tom Brady's hand, because Tom Brady is supposed to talk today as well. He was already supposed to talk twice this week and did not.
Right.
So now could we get both of them talking today, and can we get a little more clarity on the injury to Tom Brady's hand?
Plus, our Diana Rossini is up there in Foxborough. She'll have that information, and she'll have it on SportsCenter. And we'll follow her on Twitter if we can get at that and see how much information she's willing to get. So we've got that. We got Jeff Darlington coming up, our NFL reporter. Teddy Atlas will join us to talk about the fights this weekend. And we'll also head to Jacksonville for the unlikely place that Doug Marrone is getting critical inside information on what it will take on how to beat the Patriots.
Okay.
Plus, we'll grill the big man. That's all ahead. Stay with us.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, Charades, Chinese Checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 on the Friday before Conference Championship Sunday in the NFL, the single greatest day of the entire NFL year. The day before, as we like to call it around these parts. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We've got Jeff Darlington coming up in just a little bit.
We have our picks coming up. Last week we had 4 games to pick. You and I picked how many of the exact same?
I think 3 out of the 4.
No,
right?
all 4.
We were
all 4.
Yeah.
We have 2 games to pick today. We'll see where that one leads us.
Yeah, how did we do last week? We were
2-2.
2-2?
2-2 both weekends.
Treading water.
Yeah, we are.
We are treading water.
You know what? Yeah. We're treading, though.
That's exactly right. So this will be our make or break weekend.
Yes, it will.
Jeff Darlington is in Jacksonville with the Jags. He'll join us in just a little bit. Fights coming up this weekend. Teddy Atlas will also stand by. We are also waiting for Bill Belichick to speak words. Maybe he will, and more likely he won't, illuminate us on what exactly is going on with Tom Brady's right hand. Why is he wearing the glove? Why hasn't he practiced all week? Why has he avoided media responsibility for 2 straight days? So we'll get into all of that. We also ask you to put out there your Grill Golic questions. Right. Call in at 860-506-5505 and leave your Grill Golic questions there. You want to do some of those?
We can do some of those, absolutely.
Yeah, do you want to do... you want to do this first?
Let's mention this, yeah. Well, we had the All-Star game. The starters were selected in the NBA. The 2 top vote getters in each conference are the captains. That would be LeBron James and Steph Curry. So they'll get to now pick schoolyard style. But again, it won't be public. It won't be on TV. So to me, it's a waste. It just is.
Yeah, we went through that. You're right. It would have been much more interesting. Just embrace it.
That's exactly right. Like the NHL did from 2011 to 2015.
And it was awesome to watch.
But one of the sidebars here, Joel Embiid, who is a lot of fun. He's a great player, and he is right in the social media world.
He is the best troll in the NBA
Back in 2014, he was saying of trying to get with this famous girl, and she said, "Come back to me when you're an all-star." This is in 2014. The girl was believed to be Rihanna. Okay, so now he made his first all-star game. Oh, there you go.
Little Rihanna, there we go.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So what
happens now?
He's an all-star. Yeah. So
what do you think?
He can hit her back up on Twitter and say, you know what, I'm an all-star now.
And what did he say about that?
He said, nope, she denied me back then. There's no reason to go back to her.
No reason to go back. All right.
Well, it seems like he was never there, though, in the first place to say to go back.
You can't go back to someplace you haven't been.
So Rihanna shut him down a couple of years ago, and now he
is returning the favor?
Well, I don't know.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe.
Kind of.
Sort of.
First 76ers starter voted into the All-Star game since Allen Iverson.
Absolutely.
Pretty impressive. But nice little side story there with Joel Embiid.
You know what? At least we know one thing about Joel. He holds a grudge.
Yes.
He holds a grudge. You know who else really likes Rihanna?
Who's that?
That's our Florida man about town, ESPN NFL reporter Jeff Darlington.
You don't really know if he likes Rihanna.
I'm going to go out on a strong limb and say Jeff Darlington is very pro Rihanna. So let's bring him in on the Shell Pennzoil performance. Oh, he's on camera. All right,
Ooh.
Jeff. So am I right?
Yeah.
Did I tag you as a pro Rihanna guy?
What to make of that? I don't know what to make of that, Trey. I mean, I would enjoy a Rihanna tune once in a while, but I really don't know where you're going with that.
I'm just saying you're probably a fan of her music, of her work. Fan. You celebrate the entire collection.
Yeah. I celebrate the entire collection. That's right.
Okay. So but that's not why we have you on, Jeff. As much as we love you, Florida man, you are here because you're dealing with a Florida team that is in the AFC Championship game for the first time this century. The last time we were there was the 99 season. So look, they have talked. I mean, Jalen Ramsey went out there at that rally and said, we're going to win it again. We're going to then win the next week, which he mistakenly didn't understand was the Pro Bowl. He meant the week after that, which would be the Super Bowl. So being around this team this week, as you've been, how would you assess their mental confidence going into this game?
The confidence is high, Trey, but also the demeanor is very relaxed. In fact, I don't want to blow this thing out of the water or anything, but in 2008, I remember covering the Giants when they were preparing for the Patriots for that big Super Bowl. Was it 2007 or 2008? In that week leading up to the Super Bowl, you sensed a team that was very relaxed, that felt confident about what they could do on defense. That's what this reminds me of, to be completely frank. I just sense a vibe in that locker room. Even Doug Marrone, who's not necessarily known for being like this relaxed, lighthearted guy, just feels pretty calm. So whether that translates to the field, whether that matters at all, I don't know. But this is a team that does not feel like this moment is too big for them at all.
What kind of talk down there, if any, has there been about Tom Brady and the hand injury?
Mostly lighthearted, again. Mostly guys joking. Doug Marrone said if he can't throw with his right, he'll throw with his left. I think this is a group behind the scenes. They're saying that if we can find a vulnerability in Tom Brady, great. When I was in the locker room talking to Miles Jack, he said we need to make sure that we're in the backfield, making him feel our presence every time. Even if we don't get the pressure that we want on him, we need to let him know that we were close. Every single time we want to be in Tom Brady's head. And by the way, that also reminds me of a little bit of a Tom Coughlin school of thinking there. Just make sure you get to Tom Brady every chance you can.
Jeff Darlington with us on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Look, yeah, they had that NASCAR package where they got after him with all those guys that could rush the quarterback. Now, when they beat him the first time in 2007, the Patriots' offensive line was a little banged up. And quite frankly, Brady was banged up in that game. Remember, he had the walking boot on after beating the Chargers in the AFC Championship game, and he's been a little banged up this season with the sore Achilles and now the hand. But the question then becomes, all those things are true, but at some point you have to make the plays to beat the Patriots. And if you're doing that, Jeff, it's not only slowing down Tom Brady, it's slowing down Gronk. Everyone says they have a plan for the ultimate mismatch on offense, the Patriots tight end, who I think is making the case that he's going to be the greatest tight end the NFL has ever seen. How do the Jacksonville Jaguars plan on slowing him down?
It's interesting when you talk to people around the building, everybody's sort of got their own opinion. This is totally just kind of speculation of different people within the organization, kind of like maybe we should put Jalen Ramsey up on him, just use our best shutdown corner, see what he can do. AJ Bouye, like where do they want to go? Where do they want to create that matchup? The only fear there that I think that the coaching staff has is sometimes when the Patriots drive you out of your lane a little bit and make you do things that are a little too creative, that's where you get yourself into more trouble. They understand how important it is to stop Rob Gronkowski, but I think this is also a team, a coaching staff as they game plan that wants to make sure that they don't forget about the other guys on the field. How they plan to match up against Gronk, they're keeping that in-house, they're keeping that a secret. But I think they recognize that they don't want to go too far in terms of imagination. I think they do want to try to stick to what they've done all season, which so far, to be quite honest with you, has worked very well.
Jeff, it seems whenever you're playing against a Tom Brady team, you'll take whatever information you can to help. And it seems Jacksonville's coach has done that from some youngsters there. Why don't you tell us about some of the info he's got for some first graders?
Well, right. Yeah. Doug Marrone came in actually to the press conference yesterday holding what no one really knew what it was at the time, and then made a joke essentially that, hey, I got a lot to do. I got to get through this scouting report. It was actually from the Bowles School. A bunch of first graders provided him with a book on tips of how to beat the New England Patriots. Great nuggets like eat more chicken was my personal favorite. Another one in there, make sure you look your opponent in the eye. Very sound advice, but probably the best one of all. Sack Tom Brady. So, it doesn't take a genius, right? It just takes a first grader, which, by the way, they're much smarter than I am.
Well, you're right. It's. I think everybody knows what to do, Jeff, as Jeff Darlington is with us on this hour of Golic and Wingo, which is presented or brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com at Win It Business. But that is the whole point, isn't it? Everybody knows what to do. The question is, how can they do it? Because, everybody knows we got to stop Gronk. And the only team that stopped him was Miami because he wasn't on the field. It's one thing to know what to do. The other thing is to pull it off.
Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right? The one thing that I'll say, though, is that what we've seen from this defense, that youthful energy, sort of maybe naivety even, they do have the type of swagger where they're not going to let a guy like Gronk necessarily get into their head. Of course, though, we're still talking about the physical nature, the physical freak. I just think that this defense matches up well with a lot of teams, kind of like that younger years of that Seattle Seahawks group in 2012-ish, where they were just going in there and just, thumping bodies, man. They were just going in there trying to make sure that they were a violent, aggressive defense. I think that is the best, really the only plan when you do go up against such a physical presence like Gronk.
Well, Jeff, we'll see what happens. I'm very upset because normally when we have you in the playoffs, you're from Florida. We send you to these horrible weather places, and you got stuck in Jacksonville. It was so fun last year during the playoffs. We sent him to Green Bay and you were everywhere, Jeff. We sent you just there to see you deal with the elements.
Right. Let me be very clear. It is actually 30 degrees right now. But I felt like if I wore a coat and gloves, that I would look like I just didn't want to.
Soft?
Freezing.
Soft.
Like,
that was the word you were going for. Soft, right?
Yeah, we'd have mocked you a lot if you had gloves and a coat on.
I'm soft. We all know that I'm very soft, Trey.
All right, Jeff, we appreciate you being with us, brother.
Jeff.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm so looking forward to this matchup of an aggressive, fast defense whether you're trying to run wide, which as Pittsburgh tried and failed to do, if you try the quick passes out wide, their pursuit, and it's a drill defenses do all the time called the pursuit drill of running and pursuing and getting 11 hats on a ball. They do it about as good as anybody does it. Getting there, they get there because they have really good athletes, and they get there in a violent way as well. So what a matchup. I really think both these games, the individual matchups that's going on, and that's what's happening. You're watching tape. You have your scheme, and as a player, you get your game plan for your side of the ball and then specific to your position. And a lot of it is game plan and recognizing formations, and what that does when you recognize a formation, it's percentages. They do this percentage of the time. They do this and this down and distance, this percentage of time. So you can narrow down what you think is going to happen. And then it gets down to you get the game plan and you know it and you study it and you watch it. Then you watch the individual you're playing against. Okay, what are the little things I need to know about this person to beat them? Hand placement, foot placement, what do they like to do as opposed to how I like to get things done. Those are the matchups I love. And one of the great ones is going to be, how did he cover Gronk? Yeah. I do think they're going to try and frustrate him by hitting him. They're going to see how much they can get away with. How much can they hit him?
And
how
the,
much
and
can
the refs
they,
usually let you get away with. It's like a hack a Shaq or a hack a Deion
We
Jordan.
will see. They'll try. That's what you do. I always say in basketball games, look for that first 5-8 minutes, how they call in the game.
Right.
And what you want out of a referee, you may not like the way they're calling it, but call it consistently. That way, at least you know how it's going to be called. So if they're mugging Gronk and they're letting him get away with it, then they're going to believe, okay, they're going to let me do this. And then if they start not, that's when you go to the ref and say, you didn't call this early. Now You're calling out. What are you doing? Be consistent in what you're doing. So that whether they're going to single him, double him, which I think they're going to do, they're going to try and frustrate him by hitting him. So watch that early on. Watch him getting jammed. Watch him getting hit. Watch him getting bumped, and see if he gets aggravated like he did when he tried to hit Tre'Davious White in the back of the head.
He did hit him in the back of the head.
But he did it because he was frustrated.
Right.
And a frustrated player is usually not that productive of a player when they're worrying about the person that's frustrating them more than anything else.
And again, Bill Belichick should be stepping to the microphone any moment now. And when we get the information from what he's talking about, we'll share it with you and get some enlightenment here on Tom Brady's hand injury. But the idea of what you just said, I think the two words that players in any sport hate more than anything else, situational ethics.
Yes.
If it's a penalty in the first quarter, make it a penalty in the fourth quarter. And if it's not a penalty in the first quarter, it should not be a penalty in the fourth quarter. Just let me know how you're going to call the game, whether it's balls and strikes, holding penalties or non-holding penalties, and be consistent throughout the game. And I know I can live within those parameters.
Yeah, as I said, I may not dig it, but at least I know that's the way it's going to be called. And then it's up to players to adjust to that. But it's when the officials or the referees are inconsistent, then you don't know which direction you're really going in.
Right. So we'll see what happens there. We'll be monitoring Bill Belichick. But while we're doing that, you ready for a little grill Golic?
Let's grill me.
All right, here's the first grill Golic question for you.
Hey, Golic. Anthony from Staten Island, New York. My question is this. I'm a huge Steelers fan, and I know they're out of the playoffs. But I want to know why. My head coach gets a pass, and Todd Haley gets abruptly fired when, are we not men? Two men cannot speak to each other. They act like preschoolers. Instead of locking them in a room and having them figure it out like men, he decides to put a buffer between. And this man still has a job. And tell me how this happens.
Well, one of the reasons it happens is the way that Pittsburgh goes about their business.
Correct.
To use Trey's stat all the time.
Since 1969.
Since 1969, there have been 4 popes and 3 coaches for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They just don't do this.
And so others go by the wayside, not the head coach. Now, again, there are a group of minority owners who have no power and no say, but they have the ear of Art Rooney II, and supposedly are saying we think Tomlin should be gone. Todd Haley, listen, the production's been there, 4 of the last 6 years, top 10.
They've been great.
Offense, 3rd leading scoring offense this year. They put up 42 in a playoff loss. You're not really a lot of times looking at the offensive side for that, but there seemed to be some friction there from a personality side. So Haley is going to be gone, but that's one of the reasons Tomlin is not. You get some leeway. You get more in Pittsburgh. That's the way they do business, and I don't mind that at all. At some point, your run comes to an end, but it's not going to be right now for Pittsburgh, for Tomlin.
Look, no, and that's the way it always goes, and especially with a franchise that has modeled themselves as being very stable over the long term. And as for Todd Haley not being there, this is not the first time this has been an issue for Todd Haley. You know, he is a guy who is very good at his job, but sometimes certain people just rub people the wrong way. We saw that in Kansas City with Todd Haley. We see it playing out in Pittsburgh. We heard stories about that when he was on the Dallas coaching staff. So, look, there's no denying that Todd Haley was very good at the offense being productive, but working relationships matter.
Right.
And in Pittsburgh, there are certain things that you can certainly criticize Mike Tomlin for. Game management situations is one of that. But at the end of the day, the Steelers are more likely than not to always side with the person they have pointed to the head coach for a longer time than almost any other franchise in football.
Yeah.
You ready for another Grill Golic? Here we go.
Mr. Golic, please tell your son and Trey to stop using the phrase "to your point." It is abused. Every time they use it is a day without you having a donut. That is my challenge to you. Figure out a way to motivate them to stop saying that so you can have your donuts. Thank you.
Well, let me just say you're not going to be the one telling me I can't have my donuts. And
you know what? To your point, that's a great point.
I think it is a great point. And to your point, I think it's a great point. You know, the Twitter and or leave a message grammar police. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Don't have a lot of time for it. To your point.
There you go. To my point, thank you very much. By the way, we have an update from Bill Belichick. He was asked about the injury to Tom Brady. His response was, we gave out the injury report yesterday. We'll update it today.
Okay.
Then a question. Is it looking like Tom's going to be a game-time decision? And he gave the most Belichick answer possible. Today's Friday.
It's amazing.
And by the way, that's exactly what he should be saying.
The best thing, the toughest thing I think to do for a reporter is what question can I ask that's going to force him to give maybe not the perfect answer I want, but make him go further than he wants to go, right? That's what you're doing. If you're going in a coach that is very tough to get a good answer out of, your job now becomes, how do I phrase it so he has to give me more than he usually does? And the great coaches are the ones that figure out a way not to give you any more. And that's Bill Belichick, because he doesn't give you any more.
He has mastered the art, no question. And you're going to have to do better than that if you really want to get him off his game. All right, you want another Grill Golic?
Yes.
Let's do it.
My question for Golic is, what do you think the keys to the game are for Jacksonville pull off an upset this weekend?
Well, the keys on when New England has the ball is obviously pressure on Brady, but that's the simple part of it. It's what they've been doing all year. I'm really interested, and they'll change it up, on the master plan of covering Gronk. I think they can cover. Listen, they have two great corners, guys that can play aggressive, can play off. They're a fast defense, so I think you have difficulty with the outside plays. What are you doing with Gronk? And they're an attacking defense. So when you have an attacking defense, you never want to be on your heels. And that's what Tom Brady can be great at, is putting you on your heels. If all of a sudden Jacksonville becomes a reacting defense more than an attacking defense, that is a huge feather in the cap to New England Patriots. And they've done that before. I think it can be difficult this week because Jacksonville is excellent at all three sides of the defensive side of the ball: line, linebackers, and secondary. So I think New England's going to have a tough time getting them on their heels. That is going to be key. The other side of it is everybody says New England is going to find a way to stop Leonard Fournette. The entire year, every team you play says Blake Bortles can't beat us, so we have to stop Leonard Fournette. And they led the league in rushing. Everybody's trying to stop them from rushing, and they led the league in rushing. So you have to give them some credit, and I think it's just too easy of a statement to say, well, New England will find a way.
But that's what they do.
I know that's what I get it, and I get they're better than just about all the teams, if not all the teams out there. But this is a team who everybody in the world knows you want to run. These are professional football players out there with really good coaches around the league, and they led the league in rushing and have averaged over 160 yards in the playoffs. So I don't know if New England can completely shut that down.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What was the best way that the Titans had a chance to beat the Patriots?
Run the ball.
And how'd they do?
Didn't go so well.
There you go. And I'm not saying Derrick Henry and Leonard Fournette are equal. I'm saying Bill Belichick is always great at taking away the thing you do best. You know who's never had a great game against Bill Belichick? Arguably the greatest defensive player in the NFL over the last 5 years, J.J. Watt.
Right.
They were determined, if they're going to lose, it's going to be Whitney Merciless or Brian Cushing. Somebody else is going to beat us. the one thing they do better than anybody is they will take your strength, and that's not going to be the thing that beats you. And if it does, tip of the cap.
Right.
Tip of the cap.
Okay, we'll see.
Although Ray Rice did ones in there and tap dance him, ran an 80-yard touchdown on the first play.
Right.
And Joe Flacco, one of my favorite stat lines of ever, 4 of 10, 39 yards passing, and an interception, and he gets credited with the playoff win.
It's a Blake Bortles line.
Look, if Ray Rice had like 180 in that game, he would take it. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, another update from the Bill Belichick press conference. Question: do you regret trading away Jimmy Garoppolo? Answer: we are focused on the Jaguars.
There you go.
He's better at this than anybody.
Awesome.
All right, coming up, we'll have more Grill Golic questions, plus a huge clash this weekend that isn't getting enough attention.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, Charades, Chinese Checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Little stray cat strut with you. Brian Setzer and the gang rocking you in on a Friday. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And if you want to get a Grill Golic question in, call at 860-506-5505. Right now they're grilling Bill Belichick.
Yes, they are.
Mike, as he's at the podium on the Friday before the AFC Championship game. And obviously lots of questions are about the health of Tom Brady's hand. The responses so far by Bill have been classic Belichick.
Yes, they have.
As for Tom Brady, he said, we gave out the injury report yesterday. We'll update it today.
Mm-hmm.
Question, is it looking like Tom's going to be a game-time decision? Answer, today's Friday. Question, do you regret trading away Jimmy Garoppolo? Answer, we're focused on the Jaguars.
There you have it.
A clinic in how to not say anything but answer the question.
And by the way, the press conference is over.
It is over? Done? That was
done.
it?
Yeah, it's over.
All you got.
There you go.
All you got, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not all we have.
Nope.
It's obviously a big weekend in football, also a big weekend in boxing, as we have the IBF welterweight title on the line. And Teddy Atlas, our great boxing analyst and a legendary boxing trainer, is joining us here in studio. All right, Teddy, we've got Errol Spencer Jr. taking on Lamont Peterson for the welterweight title. Are these boxers that have similar styles of fights? How do you see this?
I'll try to give you a little bit more than Belichick.
Okay. Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, the segment will go better if that's better. Yeah.
Actually, they're similar in style. You know, Peterson, we'll start with him, the opponent, the challenger. He likes to press the envelope behind the jab. He likes to go to the body. He likes to come forward and be the boss as much as he can. He is able to box a little bit. You know, he's no Muhammad Ali in there. He's no Pernell Whitaker in there. He can use his legs. He's going to have to use his legs. He's going to have to be able to survive at least the early rounds with this monster, this beast in front of him, because Spence is really a physical beast. I don't know how he makes welterweight. He's a big, strong guy. He's relentless with his pressure. He's going to get to you. He's going to come forward. And he's got the physical assets, the physicality, the pure strength. But he's a terrific body puncher. Like I say on ESPN Fights, he loves to put water in the basement. But this guy floods the basement. Yeah. I mean, he destroys the basement. And he wrecks the furniture, too. He's a guy that is going to get to you. And one of his greatest qualities, besides everything I just said, which is enough, is the mental side. Always has to be the mental side. I mean, that's why Brady is so good.
Right.
It's the mental side. They never lose faith. They're always reliable. They never get rattled. This is a guy that my mentor, Customato, who I thought was the best boxing guy of all time, he used to say there was only two guys he saw with this quality, supreme confidence, Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson. When I look at Spence, I see that quality, supreme confidence. Now, what's the difference, confidence, supreme confidence? The belief that there is no way on earth that you're going to beat me. I will find a way no matter what. If I got to knock the referee out and then get to the guy, whatever. I will find a way to win. I don't believe I can lose. I don't believe I can be beaten. Supreme confidence. Spence has that. And he's a beast.
So some criticism of Spence, he hasn't faced anybody yet. Is that fair?
Not completely. I mean, it's not completely fair. He has beaten Kell Brook. Now, Kell Brook was a really solid, but how short people's memories are. They should be golfers because they would be good. You know what I mean? Yeah, you put
quarterbacks.
You put in the woods. Hey, I'm okay. Forget it. I didn't really put it in the woods. I put it on the green. Short memory. He beat Kell Brook. Kell Brook was one of the top boxers around. Kell Brook beat Sean Porter. Kell Brook was a guy from London who fills the stadiums over there, 50,000 people, 40,000 people, and a real solid guy. But he made a mistake. Maybe not in a pocketbook, maybe not with his accountant, but he went up and he fought Golovkin at middleweight. It was too big for him,
right.
And he got knocked out. So maybe he got softened up a little bit. But Spence goes over to London in front of 50,000 or whatever was in the stadium that day, somewhere in those numbers, and he goes and he stops him in 11 rounds. He goes and knocks him out. So, yeah, he faced somebody. Again, maybe the guy was softened up a little bit by Golovkin, a big middleweight, but the guy had been an undefeated welterweight and a big welterweight. So, yeah, he's fought somebody, but you always, listen, he's only getting on the radar of the public now.
Right.
So, yeah, you still need that signature win. But here's the good news. That welterweight class, the most talented, deepest class in boxing right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, you got Thurman, you got Spence, you got Crawford, you got Garcia, you got Porter. I mean, it's an unbelievable division.
Eventually he will get tested, is what we're saying.
He's going to have to.
Yeah.
I mean, and those are all matches that are pay-per-view type matches. I mean, these are classic matches with any of those guys. So I haven't seen the welterweight division this talented, this loaded since the 80s when you had somebody named Sugar Ray Leonard,
he was
Tommy
pretty
Hearns,
good. Tommy Hearns.
Roberto Duran.
Also good.
Wilfred Benitez.
Yeah, also
tremendous.
So for those that think, how MMA has come up and maybe boxing has taken more of a back seat, is this a group led by Spence that is going to help bring boxing back into the forefront more?
You know what? That's a good question. But I don't think it has to bring it back. I think that boxing is always there. But, when it's the only knock on boxing is the consistency sometimes of the equally matched fights. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I got to give credit to Dana White and UFC, the Ultimate Fighting people, that they match their guys, but they're dictators. When you're a dictator, guess what? You could be a good matchmaker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you demand, you mandate. You say, hey, you got to fight this guy. Otherwise, get the hell out of here. Boxing, there's more options. Right. So guys don't want to fight each other until the big money is there. So what has happened to boxing, to a certain extent, it's become a little bit of an event-driven sport. When it's a big event, when it's an evenly matched fight, when it's Pacquiao and Mayweather, when it's a fight that gets people's imagination, where you can make an argument 50-50 that either guy could win. When that happens, well, I got to be honest, UFC and Ultimate Fighting, as great as it is, it's a pimple on the backside of boxing because everyone comes out to see the boxing match when it's the right match.
The eyeballs are always there.
Well, they are. The only thing I'll say is, let me throw back at you,
sure,
is
go ahead.
In the era we're in, because I love what you said, and you're right. When you get into a match and you're not sure who's going to win, we saw one of the biggest pay-per-views ever, and we knew what the outcome was going to be. We absolutely knew it, but we all bought it anyway when McGregor took on Mayweather.
But that was different.
No, I know, but I guess, and I'm not saying this against boxing, I'm saying against
two different groups of fans.
Where we are now with fans, younger fans, do they want something different nowadays?
I think that I talked about the welterweight division being so good and hasn't been as good since the 80s.
Right.
The 80s was when boxing was really healthy, the last time.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I watched every one of those fights.
Unbelievable.
Every one of them.
Okay. If you ask Teddy, hey, Teddy, what's the one thing, you can name 10 things, but what's the one thing that made it that's so unbelievable? The best were fighting the best.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And there were so many of them.
Yeah, and there was so many of them. So when the best are fighting the best, this sport is at the top. Everyone comes out to watch it. And if you go ringside, you see all these whacked out celebrities, really. Yeah, I mean,
They show up. You're right. They do.
They're all there.
They all want to be there because they know all the eyes are going to be there.
Exactly.
So can boxing get back to the best fighting the best, like they're doing in UFC? Can they get back to that?
They can, of course, they can get back to it. But it's a matter of the promoters, the greedy promoters, the animals that they are sometimes, that they will allow their guy, who's one of the best, fight the best and take that risk. Yeah. That's what it all comes down to. Otherwise, if you leave it up to these promoters, they're going to say, oh, no, we're going to sell it as the best fight, but we're going to make sure that our guy has a 70-30 edge. Because we want to continue down the road of making money. Yeah, to make a better fight if we put him in with someone else. But it might kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Well, they don't want to do that.
As we always say, follow the money, and that usually is where it ends up.
That's why I give credit to Golden Boy.
Yeah.
I'd say the last thing. I give credit to them because they went out there and they put Canelo in there with Golovkin.
Right.
And that was their golden goose.
Right.
And they could have killed it.
Right.
And they didn't.
They didn't at all. And Teddy Atlas with us, our boxing trainer, a legendary boxing trainer and our boxing analyst. Again, the fight is Saturday night. Errol Spence Jr. taking on Lamont Peterson for the IBF welterweight title.
And he will knock him out.
Knock him out? You're calling a knockout. We got a knockout call from Teddy.
Like
solid. Teddy, we appreciate you being with us.
Pleasure,
That's
guys.
the Saturday
Thanks,
night. We got a couple of titles to determine on Sunday as well, AFC and NFC championship games. We'll break those down. The best Sunday of the NFL season. All right, Golic and Wingo here with you. It is getting to that time as we're getting closer and closer to AFC and NFC Championship Sunday. Bill Belichick was at the mic earlier today at Foxborough. Obviously, he was peppered with questions about what's wrong with Tom Brady's hand, and obviously his answers were very Belichickian in the best possible way. He was asked about Tom Brady's hand. He said, we gave out the injury report yesterday. We'll update it today. Someone asked, is it looking like Tom's going to be a game-time decision? Bill's response, today's Friday. Another question, do you regret trading away Jimmy Garoppolo? Bill's response, we are focused on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So now the question becomes, will Brady practice today? And will he be on the practice field? And will he say anything after?
Yeah,
practice?
that's he again, as you mentioned, twice he's supposed to talk and he has not. And if he goes up there, everybody's going to want to look at his hand as well. Is he going to be up there with gloves? It's amazing. To me, at the end of the day, he's going to go out and he's going to play. It's just a matter of how effective and what's hurt and how, as I mentioned, how effective he can be.
All right. Outside of these four teams competing in the championship, everybody's thinking about next year already.
Yes, they are.
One of those teams is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
They thought they'd be playing this Sunday. They talked about it a lot. Among those people that talked about it, running back Le'Veon Bell, who tweeted last Saturday night, I love round twos. We have 2 twos in a row. Well, that's all great. They didn't get to the second round two against the Patriots because they lost round 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now this report is coming out. Le'Veon Bell said he will retire or walk away. He doesn't want the franchise tag. But according to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, not only did Le'Veon Bell arrive much later for the playoff game against Jacksonville, he missed practically the entire Saturday walkthrough the day before, showing up about 5 minutes before practice ended. Mike, that's a walkthrough before a playoff game.
And to go along with the game, most teams, the teams I were on, you had to be there 2 hours before the game. They wanted you in the locker room. Tomlin wants players and coaches to report, same thing, 2 hours before kickoff. That was continually ignored by both players and a coach or two. And then we go into the thing, where Bell arrived much later than that for the playoff game of the 2 hours, and then showed up for walkthrough with about 5 minutes ago. Inexcusable. Yeah. And I'm just, listen, as I've always said, the better you are, the more leash you're going to get. So, you're going to sit Le'Veon Bell. Certainly as a team, you can fine him for those kind of things. And maybe Tomlin does find these players that are showing up late. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know the answer to that. I think certainly you don't want them off the field, as we found out with Odell Beckham a couple of years ago, with Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin didn't take him off the field, because he's your best player. You want him on the field, and you don't want to take Le'Veon Bell off the field. But boy, oh boy, I mean, with Mike Tomlin, you think of discipline and hardcore, and that's what you think of as the outside looking in. But, remember players were speaking out, complaining that practices were too hard at times, there were too much hitting. The players do an awful lot of talking there, more than you would think at times. And this, arguably I think he's the best player on the team in Le'Veon Bell, set up for a monster deal, but certainly seems to be going by his own agenda a bit.
Look, and you can't have that. Look, Ron Rivera last year as a head coach of the Carolina Panthers did not let Cam Newton start because he didn't wear a tie on a flight. So every coach has their degree of the line you're not crossing. Yep. The fact that this line was allowed to cross is really interesting.
Surprising to me, especially if it's, if the 2 hours for the game if that's regularly broken. Is that now again?
Well, the fact that they felt that it could be broken.
I'm not in that locker room, so I don't know how a lot of it works. But I mean, obviously, if it's happening, you're allowing it to happen. It's because you're not doing enough of a deterrent to stop it from happening.
As our Herm Edwards used to say, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen.
Right.
And it certainly seems like that was allowed to happen. It's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Especially if they put the tag on him, on Le'Veon Bell.
Which I think they're going to.
I think they're going to as well.
So we'll deal in that as we get forward to looking ahead, but we still got a couple of games to get to, and let's start right now. Conference championship time to pick them. Jags at Pats. Kick it off. Patriots -7.5. Who do you got?
All right. You know what? As a former, maybe I'm doing this because I'm a former defensive player, but I'm so buying into the Jacksonville defense. And I just think for what New England likes to do, and they do it well, Jacksonville matches up. Jacksonville's got D-line that can rush the passer just for athletic linebackers and really good cover corners. They match up. The big matchup will be with Rob Gronkowski. They're going to get to Tom Brady and the four-man rush. The New England's not going to be able to run wide, in my opinion, or throw wide. This defense is too fast, too athletic, and too aggressive. Not only will 7.5 for the points, or not only will I take the points, Jacksonville's going to win this game.
You're calling
Jacksonville
is
going to New England. I picked the Patriots to make the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, so they make it. I picked them, but I'm going with what I see right now. And I think Jacksonville, I think they're going to be able to run. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I know the Patriots do so well at cutting, taking your best away. Jacksonville is the number one rushing team. I don't know if they get a ton of yards, but I think they get enough to make that running game effective. Jacksonville gets the win.
So you've just covered your bets, basically, because you picked the Patriots before the season began, and now you're picking the Jags to win. So you could either way, you can say, I called it.
Well, it would be
I called it either way.
Be kind of bad if the Patriots win and I say I called it, even though the week ago I predicted them to lose. But yes, I'm picking Jacksonville.
It's a fluid line with Mike. It's
Jacksonville
a fluid line.
Wins the game.
All right. Well, look, I love Jacksonville, and there's a large part of me, especially with now this little cloud of intrigue around Brady's hand, wants me to go there. But it's like betting against Alabama. They were down 13-0, and they made a quarterback change at halftime of the national championship. Alabama won. I'm going with the Patriots, and I also am going to give the points. I will take the Patriots. And that leads us to the Vikings at the Eagles, Philadelphia, and underdog again.
Underdog, number one, top seed in the conference, underdogged again. I love the Vikings defense. What's not to love? I love the receivers route running. I love Kyle Rudolph in the red zone, and we love what Case Keenum has done all year. But I also love what the Eagles have done as a team. I know they don't have Carson Wentz, but from the O-line to the D-line, they controlled that game last week. They can control the lines of scrimmage. They've done it well. This is my flat-out win. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles going to the Super Bowl to play Jacksonville.
He'll be playing Fly, Eagles Fly at his house all day Sunday. Well, I guess to counteract that, I'm going with Minnesota.
Okay.
I think they're going to be that team that is the first team ever to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. We'll find out who's right.
Yes, we will.
We know you're covered when it comes to the AFC.
Yeah,
we'll break it all down on Monday. Enjoy Championship Sunday, everybody.
Hater.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.